I want to do this quick, raw and dirty video of our new rolling wrench tuck harness. This harness is very simple, pretty sweet looking. It's got the wrap. Everything is very, very simple. You don't need to know wiring at all. Everything is plug and play for a Honda Ruckus. The ignition plug, you might have to adapt this to, say if you have a Maddog, you need to switch this out for your ignition plug. You just have power in, power out. Very easy. Or possibly the headlight plug. Those two plugs will change, but this is for the Honda Ruckus or the Maddog in particular. What this does is this harness by itself is the accessory harness. It controls start, kill, high and low beam, horn, brake sensors, and the starter solenoid. So it does not cover the ignition system, and it doesn't cover the charging system. We have another harness for that. So there's three systems working here. So if you have a problem, it's very easy to figure this out. So stick with me. Let me show you how it works. Here's some of these components that you would use in a wiring harness. Of course, I got a bike over there we can do it on, but I want to lay it out so it's easy. So first of all, we need an ignition. Here is a Honda Ruckus ignition. So you just take your ignition, you simply just plug it in. Really easy. Now you got positive to the battery, negative to the battery. Very, very easy. Next, we have the horn. So grab my horn. It doesn't matter what side you plug these in. It can be green to purple, purple to green. Doesn't matter. You can switch these. It's the same. There's our horn. Next one. These are our brake sensors. So if you have a set of levers like this, you're going to have brake sensors. You know, you got your little brake sensor here. Got two wires that come out of there. Look like this. Same thing on the other side. The right and left side of brake sensors. Black goes to black. There's a 2-in-1 plug, see that? Just like that. Grab the other one. Black. And then the green one, go to your green with the yellow stripe will go to yellow. These are common colors here. Okay, so now your brake sensors, so your tail light turns on, is all dialed in. Next, we've got our relay for the signals. Very, very easy. You can use your stock one. We use these LED ones because you can turn this and adjust the LED flash speed. So this just plugs in really easy. As you can see, everything is very, very easy. Here's the headlight plug. So on a Honda Ruckus, you have a headlight plug just like this. And then it plugs into your headlights. So I'm just going to kind of come over the top here and plug the headlight plug in. Oh, wrong one. There it is. Headlight plug. Bam. Okay. So when I turn it on, I'll have these headlights working. Next, we got our start switch. So we got this is our stealth start button. So in this situation, like this, you would remove this little clamp for your bars, for your brake lever, and then this would go in its place. It's called the stealth start button. You can use any start button you want, even the stock Ruckus controls. So plug that in. Now we've got a start button. Next, we've got signals. Okay, very, very easy. Black is ground on this particular one. Black's going to go to green. Green is our ground, so you'll know that because it's got two little plugs for one. So here's that. We'll go orange is left, and blue is right. So we'll plug these in. So now we got our flashers, our LED signals installed. Next, we got our left hand control. This controls left, right, horn, high and low beam. That's easy. Just plug it in. Okay. The last thing is we've got our starter solenoid. To save wire junk everywhere over here, normally this would just go right on top of here. This goes directly to your battery. Okay. This guy right here is going to go on the other side, and that goes from your starter solenoid right there all the way back to your starter. And then we've got this guy. This will go, this is the ground. This goes from the negative of the battery, all the way back to the starter mounting bolts. So I'm going to keep those away just to make it simple so you're not confused with all these wires. So our last plug right here, well, not our last up on the top, that just plugs in right there. Very, very easy. Now we've got our tail light. let's plug that in. Okay, I got the taillight plugged in. I skimmed over this really quickly because all taillights have different wiring. I don't want to confuse you. But in short, you got a left blinker wire, right blinker wire, and if you're using separate blinkers than in an LED strip, then we have a spare ground. So, you know, just like the front blinkers. Next, you got yellow brake light, green ground, black power. The cool thing is on this white wire, we've got power when you turn the key on. The brown wire is whenever you turn the kill switch on. So you have a switched power, and then you have a power for just when you turn the key on. So you can use it for LEDs or whatever. But the one with the kill switch is for like your CDI box or your EFI. We've got everything wired in except for the battery, of course. These guys, just to make it simple, which I showed you what that is. Let's just plug the battery in really quick. We got the positive. I'm just going to clip it like this to make it easy. And we got our negative. Okay. So all we really need to do is turn the key on. Headlights turn on. Now we go to our little high and low beam right here. Okay, high and low beam. I'm actually going to unplug the headlights so it's not so bright. But there's the headlights, okay? Unplug those. We won't need those for right now. And then we've got our horn. Okay, left blinker. Got our tail light, left blinker. Right blinker. Okay, right blinker. Right blinker. And then we've got our brake lights. So I'll pull the brake light. Let's see if we can move this so you can see. So everything, as you can see, oh, let me show you the starter. So if you hold the brake, push the start button. If you don't hold the brake, if you don't hold the brake, it doesn't work, just like OEM. Okay, so everything works. As you can see, it's very, very easy to wire up. I wired it up in under a couple minutes. If you're wanting to wire up everything with brand new components on your Honda Ruckus, Maddog, or whatever you have, you're going to need the rolling wrench tuck harness, which I just went over. It controlled the headlights, high and low beam, left and right blinkers, start button, brake lights, starter solenoid, horn, all the major, just normal accessories. One thing we were leaving out was the charging system and the ignition system. So you need three things, actually four things to run a harness. You need the accessories, that's one. You need the starting system, like starter solenoid. You need your charging system, and you need your ignition system. So starting from the end, accessory harness, you'll need this for sure. And then to make the start button, kill switch, left and right, blinkers, horn, all that work, you're going to need our Honda Ruckus switch kit, which is here, okay? And then we sell a power cable that looks just like this, comes just like that. We've got a ground. You'll need a starter solenoid. You can probably pull this off your old bike. So there's that. And then we've got our charging system. A lot of you guys already have our 8-pole to 11-pole charging system upgrade kit. If you have that, you won't need this. But if you don't have that, or if you want to upgrade to an 18-pole, it's very, very easy. Check this out. So plug this into there, just like that. This guy plugs into here, just like that. And this goes to the positive and negative of the battery. You install your stator, and this magneto goes over the top. Now you got an 18-pole charging system. So there's your charging system complete. Now for the ignition system, you have two options. If you're running a carburetor, you're going to want our DC CDI box. A lot of you guys already have that. Very, very easy. This blue wire plugs into the blue wire on the charging system upgrade kit. Black wire, ground on the motor. Red wire to, remember I showed you at the end here, brown and a white wire. Those will power that. Or, this is where I love this, you can do our EFI system. It has power, ground, and pickup, just exactly like this. The EFI system wires up exactly the same as the DC CDI box. So, pretty cool. Okay, quick run through. Accessory harness, Ruckus switch kit, power cable, ground, starter solenoid, charging system upgrade, 18-pole or 11-pole, you choose. Then we got our ignition system. You can do a full EFI system or DC CDI box. It's actually CDI and coil in one. So these 4 systems will give you a complete wiring system. You don't need any of that old stuff. Oh yeah, and one more thing. This is not cheap quality stuff. Really, really good loom. Everything's hot glued. Okay, heat shrunk. It's in this loom. And most of all, the biggest baloney thing when you get a harness, if it's Chinese and it's cheap, you start pulling on these connectors, they'll rip off. Yeah, look at that. They're not going to come off. This is all really, really good stuff. The company that builds these for us is the same company that builds Kimco harnesses, so OEM harnesses. Really, really good quality stuff. I want to make sure that you're aware of that, because like the Maddogs and stuff like that, you start yanking on wires like that, plug's going to come off in one hand, wire will be left in the other hand.